modern day masculine man, take one.
What makes a modern day masculine man? When you drink your liquor straight, a modern day masculine man. I pay all the bills and I tells my woman the truth. Got my shit together, do what I wanna do, say what I wanna say. I won't bend, I won't break, you are not me and I am not you. I kept it real, so now I can do what I wanna do. Modern masculine man. Welcome to Man School.
Welcome to the Modern Masculine Man Podcast, Mitch. Woo!
There I go. Look at that, Miss Carla. We missed a week in the whole system. I forgot how to do what I was supposed to do. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, babe. How are you?
I'm excellent. Let's
Right.
see. Let's make sure.
I seen you out here ranting and raving.
Yeah. Talking shit. We're gonna talk a little shit about Shannon Sharp at some point tonight, but just before we get off, just for fun. That's funny that you used him. Remember, you was using him in your conversation, and then
I did, babe. Yeah, you know, I'm always up to something, and I'm just gonna give you a little prelude. I plan on doing his numbers using the Living Soul guidance system. So I got some good juicy stuff on him now.
So we're gonna have to get people on to what you do with the numbers and the guided soul. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about that. I don't know if I can tell you, but it seemed like it's cutting the top of your head off just a little bit. And we want to see all you. So move that thing back a little bit. We want to see you perfectly.
Do this and see.
Yeah.
We got a little bit better. Let's see.
Yeah, that
also the lighting might be a little bit off too. Let me see.
Nah, that's straight. It was just cutting the top of your head off, and we want to see all.
Is that better?
Excellent, very much better. Okay. Look, if you in the post and you can hear this, can you say yeah? Can you like the post? Can you say yeah? Can you let us know that you're down with us tonight? Can you let us know that you tuned in, tapped in, turned on to Ranting and Raving with Javon and Carla? Let us know. So look, let's go ahead and get right into it. You know, I like to let you pick the topics unless I have like a specific good topic, which I really don't have a lot of topics. I just be ranting and raving. So that's why it's hard for me to do a podcast, you know, but talking with you and getting with you, understanding that there's a message. I want to teach. I want to coach. I want people to learn. So getting with you, you've kind of showed me how to take my ranting and raving and turn it into, you know, a podcast without just getting up here being a fucking celebrity black news reporter. In today's news, Shannon Sharp got sued. I
think Shannon's always up to something. Yes. Yeah. Just doing the most.
It's like you could see that on Facebook. So why would I come up here and have a whole show about Shannon Sharp getting sued? You know that, you know what's going on. So it's like, I think it's so baseless. Like, I'm not Wendy Williams, so I want to talk about some real shit. So what we talking about tonight, Miss Carla?
So we're going to talk about the X Factor tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about when we get in a love affair, do we clean up shop? And I'm not just talking about disengaging with all of our past love affairs, just all the way around, not just calling everybody and saying, you know, we're done or whatever, but I'm talking about in the mind. Mm-hmm. See, this is what nobody talks about because we only get caught up in, well, I told him it was over. Yeah, but you keep going over there. And I'm not saying you're going over there physically, but you're still going over there in the mind. When your man isn't doing what you like him to do, Then all of a sudden, when I was with him, he was doing this, and when I was with him, he
When I
was
was with
doing that.
Steady B, I had it all. You remember that song, Glamorous?
Yes,
Caller said, when I was with Steady B, I had it all. Like,
I had it all.
go back
Yes,
to goddamn Steady B then. Yeah, go ahead.
yes.
Talk on it though.
So I just want to talk about how important it is that we clean up shop so we are really totally 100% present in our love affairs. Because a lot of times we're going into love affairs and we still didn't clean out the closet. We still
Yeah.
didn't make sure that our feelings are cleared out from our past love affairs. Because the X factor, if you notice, and we're just going to be honest, normally if our current love affair ends up going south, or we have problems, or we just disengage for whatever reason, always, and for whatever reason, the first person that comes to your mind to reconnect with is usually the one that you still have pondering feelings for. You have some unfinished business. You still ponder about some of the things that you did. You still hold on to past memories, and all of those things should really be pretty much done and disengaged. If you're in, let me clear this up though, let me be honest, you also want, I'm talking from a space of monogamy. So tonight I am talking about monogamy, not talking necessarily about open relationships or relationships that have other lovers. Because, and the reason why I say that is usually when you have open relationships, or you are in poly love affairs, there are other feelings that you're able to engage into,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of course you have that openness in the relationship. So it's
Yeah.
not like where if I have feelings for one, I can't have feelings for the other without it being intrusive in my current affair. And so I wanted to bring that up too, that this is really talking about those that are in exclusive love affairs or in solid monogamous relationships.
Well,
So I think it's important that we talk about it.
I definitely agree with you, but I also feel being in a poly situation, I know there are women in my past that I had to totally get over, totally erase and totally disconnect from. And I'm free to have these feelings for these women. But for
but before you go on from there, why did you have to disengage from them?
Because I guess I'll explain it to you. You ever notice like that there are songs written about it, like Tony Braxton, it's just another sad love song wrecking my brain like crazy, or Neo, it's just so sick of love songs, or Usher, Let It Burn. I would find myself having such strong feelings for this woman that I had, I would go smoke a joint and play those songs to make myself cry, just to feel how it felt.
Feel how you felt.
For her again. Like, I love this woman so much, you know what I'm saying? These situations where when I'm free to have these feelings. My wife is free.
Hold that thought. I'm gonna grab my power
Okay.
because it's getting a little.
Oh, I think we got a glimpse of that thing tonight, boy.
We don't have that time to be doing all. Lord have mercy. But I do agree with you. I think that it's important that we are crystal clear about what it takes to be honest with our feelings.
So let me ask you something. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Do you think that first person we call back is because the level of comfortability? Like I'm not even, I always say that word, comfortability. So say for example, I break up, you break up, and we sad, and before we go out and get somebody on the rebound, somebody new, and do you think we call that person back not because we still love them so much as much as I can be comfortable with them, I can tell them, hey, the shit didn't work out right, and they'll understand and listen because they want to fuck me again. I think sometimes women don't want to run their body count up, so they run back to their ex. Because, it's like, okay, I just broke up with him, now I'm with somebody else. And if that's two bodies in 1 year, no matter how you count it. You know what I'm saying? No
matter how you count it. Yes, that's right.
You think that, but you speak from a woman's perspective in your past, or what you think that is the psychology behind soon as some shit goes sour, you call that ex. You know what I'm saying? And it's normally the ex. It's not three exes ago. It's the last person you was with.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, I personally believe it's familiarity. It's unfinished business. It's also that person still has a part of you, especially if you had kids with them, there's usually a string attached to that
Yeah.
person. So there's it's just that comfort. And then of course, when you still have those raw scars from a love affair you're just coming out of, you want to go back to familiar. So it's just human nature. Our human nature is to go back to something that we're familiar with because we feel safety, we feel secure there. But when we go into something unknown, we don't know what we're going to get into, and we're like, "Ooh, I don't want to run the risk of making myself in a worse situation than I'm already in. So let me get to something I know. I've been there, I've done that. I've
Yeah.
already had the worst with this person. So the familiarity is really the part that I found that was easier to just draw right back into, whether I
Uh,
wanted to or not.
yeah, definitely the familiarity, and then also considering the work, how easy it is. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Just that phone call, and that person is waiting for you, because normally when you call that ex back, it's somebody will answer because you broke up with them, or they're
Right.
on the outs with you. So you don't
Yep.
feel like when you call them back, they're gonna say, "What you calling me for? Thought you broke
Right.
up with me." You don't get that rejection that you
No.
may get
Right.
if you
Exactly.
get into a new situation. And I
Yes.
think it has a lot to do with, and I say this all the time, it's a single mother concept. I saw my mother do this, and I watched my mother got 5 sisters, and I would watch sometime my aunt sit around and talk, and I would say as a child in my mind, these women don't know what they want in a man. They just know what they don't want, and they're judging every situation, new situation, kind of like, well, long as he ain't like Hambone was. You know what I'm saying? Long as he won't like ham bone. But when you break up with the new guy, it's like
Yeah.
you're familiar with ham bone, so you go back to ham bone. It's like kind of like I always say when you ask black people why you like Joe Biden, they'll explain what they don't like about Trump. You see what I'm saying? Why
Right.
you
Absolutely.
Joe Biden? Why do you like Kamala Harris? Donald Trump is a bad motherfucker. Can you tell me some good attributes about Kamala, though? So I think that's how we get into our most relationships. We don't
Absolutely.
know what we really want and need in a person. We compare everything by our last guy. So you broke up with Hambone. What are you looking for in a new relationship? You don't say, I want this, this, and this. It's just like, long as he don't do what Hambone did. Well, Hambone did this. I hope he do this. I hope he don't do this. And it's like, we're comparing our lives by the last piece of shit we was with, instead of saying, let me sit down and see what the fuck do I need. I want to fly a plane. I need a woman that's not afraid of heights. I need a woman that's not afraid to be on the go all the time. I might need to try to marry a airline stewardess if I want to be a plane pilot, not just picking. I was just with a fucking Walmart worker, and as long as I don't get a Walmart worker, I'll take a Target worker. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think what you said which was primary to what my thinking is you said you had to disengage from a past lover because how she made you feel. So really it boils down to the fact that most of the time we don't hear that side of men. We only hear about men engaging with a woman. We don't hear that men also have feelings for a woman. So if we're honest, we understand that sometimes you can find yourself in a feeling based I guess we could say container that it feels oh so good even in the bad because of just because of the way that person makes you feel. And a lot of times it's not really about them, it's more about you. So what I always tell clients when they come to me and say, this person really made me feel good, I always was happy and this and that, and I'm like, well, it may not be the person, it may be the fact that you inside believed that you and that person was a match. And in that match alone, that actually conjured up feelings that you had deepened because of the fact that you and that person have this bond that goes on. and it's invisible. You don't see it. You just know that when I'm around this person, I get these feelings, and they're extraordinary because they make me feel a certain way, a certain joy. And also, you believe that this person, whomever it is elevating you to your higher self. So really, if we're honest, we see that, you know what, this person made me feel like I wanted to be the best version of me.
Yeah.
And it may not even be something that they do or say. It could just be an energetic combustion of joy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to make sense. It can just be what it is. That person makes you feel like I'm at the top of the world with this woman beside me. I don't even have to have her be my wife or my woman or whatever. But when we are in that realm, or we spend that time together in that space, I know for a fact I can be the man at the top of the world.
And I think it has something to do with like you just said, that mind, because I was reading a book on neuroscience, and it was saying that the mind doesn't know if it happened in real life or the imagination. It thinks the same. So what it was saying was, they had some guys go out to a real basketball court, some guys that had never played basketball, and they taught them how to shoot a free throw. And they had them stand there and physically shoot a free throw so many times. And then they had men in a lab who they taught how to shoot a free throw virtually. You see what I'm saying? And the crazy thing was, the people that, when they put them on the court, the people that shot without the real goal shot better, because they was making every shot in their mind. They had got confident. Whereas the people that were out there shooting with a real goal was missing shots. So by the time they came to take the test, the people that actually were taking the shots were feeling like, shit, I can't shoot. But the people that was just doing this with their form came out like, shit, in my mind, I didn't hit every shot. So they were hitting the shots. So, and reading that, I began to understand that's what deja vu is. That's what that dream is that you had. And when you see that person is real. So having said that, I set that up to say the mind doesn't know the difference in what's real and what's not real. So when we have these, like you said, lies that we tell in our head about people to justify and being with them, before we know it, we saying that's the best person I ever had. And we just said that to Frida just to fucking say it, because she was riding me about why you love Chris so much. And you said, that's the best woman I ever had. And then before you know it, every time you defend them, or when you even in your sad place, you go back to, that's the best woman I ever had. It's kind of like
it's unbelievable how the mind works.
Yes, it's like this, Miss Carla, and it's so real. And if I can give the crowd just a very rudiment example of it, imagine the first time you watched Lion King. You got sad at that cartoon falling over the cliff. Your mind gets scared. Oh, Simba, catch him. Catch your father. Oh my God. And it's like, this is a goddamn cartoon. This ain't real. Why am I sitting here yelling at the TV for a fucking cartoon character? Or when I'm looking at something that I was watching this shit the other day, the new movie Sinners. I was in my bedroom scared and suspenseful, and I'm like, this is a made up deity, a vampire. But my mind was scared than a motherfucker for it. So that's what I was saying when you said that. I know I said a lot, but when you said that, I wanted to really break down the neuroscience so people can really start to say, when you walk around saying, man, that pussy got a hold on me, man, that pussy so good, I can't, you really begin to feel like that. When she call you, you would jump out of your bed and drive 4 hours because you think that pussy that good.
Absolutely, you will. And I think one of the things empowers that that I think we as women kind of are 10 steps ahead of men on that part, because we were taught to develop imagination so early on. If you can think about it, most women are more excited about the wedding than the marriage. Most women are caught up in wanting to be a girlfriend early on before boys are even thinking about that.
Yeah,
So the
exactly.
girls are doing all this convincing and explaining and how it works and what we should do and how we should do it. And the boys looking like, I just want to continue to play my games. I don't want to do all this. What is that?
Exactly.
Oh, why am I just want to go back and go on the golf course and play, or I want to go to play some tennis. I want to go ride some cars. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, but we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend and we're going to do this and that. So girls have built I'm talking about, we are just roads ahead of boys, and men and women are roads ahead of men on the imagination of how we end up so-called falling in love with men. Whereas men, I say all the time, you guys don't have as much experience with the relationship part.
Yeah.
A lot of times, remember, I had broke that down a long time ago, is that men struggle with having the breakups. Women are like this on the comeback. Men really struggle because once they go 10 toes in to a woman, then they really give everything they got. But with women, we've already had practice and we've had it in our minds and we played it with our dolls and we had this and we had that. We hear our stories with our mothers and our girlfriends and our sisters. And so our whole focus, unless we're in purpose, is all about having a love affair and getting married.
And immediately ready to get back into something else because it's the romanticism. It's the wooing. When a man, like you said, leave a relationship, we was in a relationship because we would have died for that woman.
And that's so true. So I don't know how many men I have heard say that comment to me.
Listen.
You are not the only man that has told me, because I've talked to men that don't mind giving me the raw because I'm open to it. But men will tell me, do you understand I would have died for this woman?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Miss Carla, let me explain something to you. And I'm explaining it to the people watching right here. Okay. And I say it all the time. Men truly love unconditionally. Men truly love. Women ain't in love. Women are in business. If you a woman sitting on a bench, right? You ain't thought about this man. And he walk up to you. Hi, I'm Charles.
Right.
Like to go out? You won't think about that man. That man might not look like how you want him to look. Nothing. But what his job is to do as a man, he know he wants you. He's picked you out.
Right.
You have to fall in love with him.
Right.
That means he has to do this, and this to make you say, you know what? I won't even think about your ass, Charles. I was sitting on the goddamn bench and you walked up and wooed me and you do this, and this. And now I'll let you be my man. But he loved her. He already said, man, I'll die for this woman. I'll go in and I'll die for this woman. So like you say, men don't get into a lot of relationships because getting a relationship for me is like a golden key. Because when I decide you my girlfriend, I would jump in front of a car for you. I would protect you with my life. So once
I also hear men say that they want to win with the woman, that they choose to die for.
Yeah. So once we break up and I done gave you the key, I die for you.
Yes.
I got this motherfucker back. And you think I'm finna get this motherfucker? Man, I would have died for this bitch. I got this motherfucker back now. This motherfucker gonna stay near and dear to me. It's gonna be a long time before I get in a situation before I die for a woman again. So a lot of times women don't realize you be in a relationship with a good man that you really like and he really like you. And you wonder why can't we commit? Because he did motherfucking gave that I die for you a key away. And he ain't getting that motherfucker up for so long.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
That's why I tell women, don't let men string you on too long. Because once a man that made up, hey, look, I done gave I die for you out once. I'm not giving that out again until I know. And when we find somebody that we know we would die for again, then we are real skeptical. Let me see. Let me go a year, 2 years, 3. I got to see is this shit fuck up because I ain't going to give him my die for a pass.
No, you're right. I have heard this. I had this very conversation earlier. So you were saying exactly what I just heard earlier. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally hear from men the same thing. And I understand that. And it's just deep because a lot of women don't get to hear that vulnerability that you just shared. Most women don't
Yeah.
know
I
that
would die
part
for my
because
wife.
most women only hear about the men that do all the playing around, but what they
Yeah.
don't hear is the men that get really hurt and burned, and how it's not going to just happen right away again. It's not.
No,
And
no, ma'am.
they're
No.
usually extremely good men, but the
Mm-hmm.
problem is, and I always tell women this, any woman that I'm close to, I always tell them, look, if that man got burned and hurt and he's a very good man, you got a small window of time. I'm
Yeah,
talking
you
about
better
small.
win him over quick. You
You
better
gotta,
know how to
you gotta,
cut
you
with
gotta,
both
you gotta get
hands,
in there early.
massage,
Yes, yes,
cook. You better
yes.
knock him off his
Because
feet.
if he gets comfortable with that singledom, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm. And
And
see, Miss
and and
Scarlett,
and it's so important that you know that as a woman.
and you got to think about this because the subject of the night is the X factor. Imagine a man who done made up in his mind, I
Mm-hmm.
found the one I die for, and
Yep.
she talking to an ex that then left her or
Yes.
still got feelings for her ex.
Yes. Yes.
She decided she don't want no more. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, and that's why a lot of men, me and Trav was talking last night about the whole being with a woman with kids. You know, a lot of men feel like that baby daddy can always hit that pussy. That's what a lot of men feel like. She didn't had a kid for this man. He got access to her. They had real, true feelings. She obviously had some type of feelings for him if she had his child. And if he a decent man, a decent guy, you know, you grow older. It's things in me and my wife relationship that used to be a problem that aren't a problem anymore. We done got older. So you start to think, okay, they done got older. That boy 10 years old. Shit, they might can co-parent now. Now she talking to him, blah, blah, blah. So it's a situation where once that man is like, hold on, I die for you, and you in here talking to the motherfucker you said hit you before? Bitch, I kill you. That's how men really be thinking. That's how men really, women don't understand when men go crazy to the point of wanting to be violent. That man has said to himself, I would die for you. I would kill for you. I would protect you. I would work 60 hours of overtime for you. You know what I'm saying? And you in here talking to the ex that you told me was a no good cheater. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but you got to remember, we got to go back to, yes, those things are true, but don't forget, we got to go back to what we talked about earlier. The feeling that ex gave always trumps the flawed part.
Yeah.
Because in the memory of that ex, you only remember how he made you feel in the good times. So when you're in a situation or in a love affair you're in right now and current with, and y'all are good, then you know the ex don't really come or surface in the heart. However, when you start to get discontent, bored, not seeing eye to eye, arguing, or you're disengaged, you start to realize, like, man, I got some unfinished feelings, because anytime he doesn't hit the mark, then I'm going right back to, you remember when I remember we used to go, we used to do this, and then those feelings, see, it's the feeling of how he made you feel that you get drummed up into. And so I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about this, because a lot of times the men don't even know that the X factor is even there. Nobody talks about that because it's in your mind. She's not going over there. She's not even home. But it's in here though. So I'm still visiting him in here.
So let me ask you this. How do you feel about, let me give you an example. For example, what if it's something that an ex used to do that you didn't know you even liked until you met that ex, and then you break up with that ex and you meet somebody new, and now you got a new fetish, a new quirk, a new thing. Like anybody I ever deal with in the rest of my life, I know if I'm stressed, anxious, having a panic attack or anything, if you rub my feet, that shit'll calm me down and put me to sleep immediately. So yeah, so if me and my wife was to break up, any woman gonna have to, my wife, I discovered that from for my wife. You see what I'm saying? So any woman would have to rub my feet. So is that a healthy thing or a bad thing, expecting a new lover to be able to do something? Is it because I feel like that's not me, her specifically can do it. I feel like anybody could do it. So is that
it's only dysfunctional if the other party or other lover doesn't agree with it.
I see what you're saying.
So if your lover is like, that's not my thing, and you're not going to want to be in a long-term relationship because of that, that's where the dysfunction comes in.
I see what you're saying.
But if she's like, look, it's really not my thing, but let me just learn. Let me learn you. Let me learn some things to do. Maybe I have an issue with feet, because some women don't even want to touch feet.
Yeah.
Well, let me get one of those foot baths and have your feet soak and relax you. And while it's relaxing you, it's relaxing me, because I have an issue with feet, as an example. Let me find out some things I can do to your feet that's going to cause me to get away from focusing mainly on you being put to sleep, but rather figuring out, maybe I should do something unique that I've never done before.
Yeah. My wife says, don't tell these women my tricks. It's funny because I learned that from an ex bitch. I just told it to you. I'm just playing with you now. My wife figured that out about me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the funny thing about it is, when you get with someone new, right? Like I always use the song with Usher, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. There's an old saying that old people used to say, I don't know if old people, but it used to say, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all, right? You heard that saying? Yes. So like I said, me, I look at situations on how I feel. That's how I be thinking. Most of the time, we look at other people and we think they think how I think. So I know I had to get rid of my past love affairs in my mind, because I would be looking at my wife thinking that she felt like I felt about exes. And like I said, sometimes you could think about a person and you can't have no more, whether you messed it up or they messed it up. And it feels so good to think about them. And that trip down memory lane, I don't know if am I crazy, but that trip down memory lane, like I said, I would put on songs, be the man with the smile.
Just doing the most of what you were doing.
I'm really playing what I need to play so I can miss her and yearn for her and want to see her. And because I can't, I feel good when I finish listening to that music for about an hour, crying like, oh, that pussy was good. She used to give me some nice. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like I had an orgasm missing her. So I know how hard a person can yearn for people. My thing is, now, I can say this now, and I've always said this. I never really realized this, but me and my wife, we talk. And we talk. And we really try to get to the bottom of things.
That's intimacy. That's intimacy at its best. Yes.
When we first met,
sapiosexuals is what you two are.
Yeah. I told my wife, I said, I love all my bitches. And she said, I think I was in love with every guy I was with. I was like, damn, that's cool, because really, you got to have something very cool about you and intriguing about you for me to stop and pay attention to you. You can't just have a fat ass or be pretty. I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
But for me to want to have sex with you, I really be feeling, I love this woman. And it might be for 3 days, 2 days. Like, can you speak on that? I really be feeling like I'm in love. It feels so good, the conversations. And I know it's one thing to woo a woman and try to get her. I done did that. I ain't like that bitch, but she made me mad on the job. She my supervisor. She wrote me up. I'm going to try to fuck her now. You know what I'm saying? If I
That's
men
off
are
of GP. It's
yeah,
off of
now
GP.
she
Yeah.
done wrote me up and got me written up. I'ma see can I
Yep.
conquer you. I'ma try to fuck you and get a quid pro quo pro case against you. I fucked the
We're gonna
supervisor
fix
and
this
she
up.
threatened to fire me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. We're gonna fix
I'm
that
a
up.
revenge you.
Exactly.
But
Right.
there's a difference in talking to a person and really
Mm-hmm.
feeling that thing for them, and then
Mm-hmm.
after a while it can leave. But I have to really, really feel like a woman is going to add to my life. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I be in love ever since I was 19, 20 years old. I'm like, if I was in her face chasing her down, I'm in love. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right. Well, and I think, and I told my partner this recently. I said, I like to call it, because when I always say the purest version of how I loved was for my husband, my first husband, that is my daughter's dad, that I told you was on the DL.
you said you
The
told
pure,
your new partner the purest
told my
version.
partner the purest version of my love that was ever gifted to a man from me
Yeah.
was my first husband, because of course that was the first time I thought it was
You was
power.
vulnerable. You went all
It
in.
was very, yeah, man, and it was really authentic from a very sincere space. However, once I look back at it now, I realized something different about me in my journey in life. I thought to myself, you really love differently when you were young, in my pure relationships as I went on. And I'm noticing that I loved with my eyes closed. You ever heard when you have an orgasm with your eyes closed? Then it's like, it seems like it's so much better, because it's like, oh, my
I
eyes were
never heard
closed.
that. I
I
never
was
heard that.
disengaged. There was nothing in the way of me feeling the climax with my eyes closed. But I told my partner recently, I said, but I love you with my eyes wide open. And it's the most oddest, craziest thing to describe it, but it's more that I have a new awareness. And then also there's I was very patient with it. I wasn't trying to manipulate like in my past. I was always, I told you I was crazy as hell. So I was always I wanted to possess everything, and I don't share nothing. And you got it this, you got it that. But in this one, I'm more patient. I'm
And chill.
cool. I'm calm. I allow my absence to be okay. In other words, I don't have to be in your face. I don't have to talk to you. We talk often and all the time. But my point is, I don't have to, without feeling, oh my God, I haven't talked to him. Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't have that little giddy
So,
feelings
Needy,
that I
the
had when I
thing
was
that
young.
makes you feel. So, let me ask you, it's two things I want to address. First, the coming with the eyes closed. I never did it.
Yeah.
I want to skeet on that hair. I want to see where that
Yeah.
comes in, and I want to skeet on that
Right. But
piece of
if
that
you
hair.
do
I
it
never
with
did
your
that.
eyes, but if you do it with your eyes open, it's a different type of response. I'll put it that
Yeah.
way.
So
Yeah.
that's something I'm gonna try. Hey, Chris, I want a nut. I want to get me a closed eye nut tonight after this show before I go to work now. So,
Listen, as long as I get the credit that I'm helping y'all out, that's all that
yeah.
matters.
And look,
That's coaching at its best.
she just said, Miss Carla, you are not helping me. So, Chris, there you go. Tonight, before I get to work, I want some head, and I'm gonna close my eyes. Fly
That
me
is
to the
so funny.
moon as I
That is
play.
so funny.
But
That is hilarious.
number two, you said
Yeah.
something that I don't know if I, as a man, I don't know how that would have felt. Hearing a woman telling me I loved my first motherfucking husband purer than anything else. I would have heard you don't love me like him, and you're not as vulnerable and open to, you know what I'm saying? I know
Right.
that just wouldn't have sounded right to me. But
Well, that's because, but let me explain it, because
yeah, I
that's how
need
I
an
always,
explanation
I
of that.
like to always make sure that if there's a discomfort in what I said, that means that your heart, mind, and soul isn't in tune with
Yeah,
what
that
I'm
would have
delivering.
discomforted me. So when I
Yeah.
heard you say it, and then you
Yeah.
gave the example of my loved him with my eyes closed and
Yeah.
giddy, and then you
Yeah.
love
And
him.
I
To
was
me, that
very
don't
giddy.
sound like nothing. That wouldn't have
That
made.
was,
That wouldn't have eased my mind. So maybe you
yeah, it was
didn't
I was
explain
just
it
very
well.
giddy. Well, I was giddy, I was immature, and I was very caught up in the romanticism of love. Now, in the love that I'm in now, this is a more authentic, more wholesome love. So now I don't have to have all the
Okay.
frill, the drama,
Bullshit.
the take me out,
That
the
bullshit.
buy me things, and all this. I don't need all that.
The
Now,
shit our
just
grandparents never
you
had.
being in, yes, now you just being in your wholesome is all I need. I don't need things. I don't need anything from you. I don't even need time, because the love is whole. It's a wholesome love.
Okay. Now, haven't explained it like that, that would make
Yeah.
me feel better as a man, because it's kind of
Yeah.
like the song David Ruffin, Never Change. Never, never, never change. I never
Right.
change one single
Right.
grain of sand. It's like the woman told him, David, you can be a
Yep.
regular motherfucker. You can be a garbage
Yes.
man. You don't have to
Yeah.
go out and swear by your blood and say you're going to give me the sun, the moon, and the stars and the mountain.
You
So
don't have to give me all that.
it's
Yep.
the pressure off of a man to be this flower bringing romantic
Right.
motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't need any of that. And so now that I love with my eyes wide open, I also very patient with the love too.
Hey, look, watch
So
this. Watch this. Chris,
yeah.
two things. Chris, do this. Write down the 2 songs that I played for you when I met you to explain how I viewed love. Do that for me, Chris. I played 2 songs to
Okay.
you that would explain how I view love. And I would say that to any woman in the
Okay.
future, any woman.
Right.
So, Chris, put those 2 songs down. The thing
Right.
is, say, for example, the Usher song, you remind me of a girl that I once knew. Okay,
Yep.
let's talk about reminding. What if
Yeah.
somebody wants to remind you of your father, or you want a guy that reminds you of your ex-husband, a guy that reminds you of your father, blah, 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 blah. What
Right.
about that when you go into picking situations? Because it's your father's not necessarily an ex, but to think a man gonna treat you like your daddy may be, you know what I'm saying, unreal, or you might hold him to a higher standard that he couldn't. So Chris put up 1 song, she put up both songs. So I'm gonna speak on that after you answer this question. What is it about reminding, or like I said, I want a man to be like my father, or treat me like my granddaddy treated my
My
grandma.
grandfather too.
What about
Yes.
the dangers and the good things about having references for choosing a mate? That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you have good, well, and again, I tell you all the time, I came from a very wholesome family. It was very solid. My family was very solid. So I came from a good, wholesome family. So I have a different kind of way to which I do choose partners. I allow the partners to just evolve in my life. I don't try to formulate them anymore. One
Yeah.
of the things that I would do when I was, like I told you, the pure version of my love, I would have the person's physical avatar to show me how he would love me.
Now you got to break
So
that down.
if he looks a certain way, say for instance, clean cut, he looked like he would always be well dressed, or well
Oh, you want
refined, or
him to be a
whatever.
meat lover?
Right.
You
Somebody like
funny as
that.
shit. Yeah, but
I would always,
if he was thugged out, you didn't mind if he cussed at you a little bit.
yeah, right. So
Wow.
I would always have this image in my mind of what he was going to be to me in his ways,
Based on
from
how he
what he
looked.
looked like. Yes.
God damn.
But the problem about that, though, is I was inaccurate. So now I allow the man to show me himself in his raw,
Yeah.
authentic self. So
Wow.
now, like I said, my eyes are wide open now. So when I see a man, I say, yes, he's handsome, because I know any man I'm going to love is going to be handsome. That's just hands down, period. That's just what it is.
Your eyes got
But
big on that shit. He got to look good, goddamn
he's
it.
gotta look good. It's not my fault. I can't help it. Anyway, gotta be handsome, right? So in his handsomeness, though, I allow myself not to get so over indulged with that, and lay back on that, and get more patient, and allow him to show me his ways, his
Yeah.
mannerisms,
Yeah.
his characteristics, his uneasiness, his frustration, how he acts when he's stressed, how he comes off when someone is dishonoring his name. Those ways I allow to show up rather than assuming, well, he's clean cut, so he's not going to argue, or he's clean cut and really, really sharp, or he's confident. He's a confident man, so he's going to say this to me if he sees something. I mean, I had all kinds of ways of thinking that a man was going to be based off of his confidence, based upon his ways. I mean, it was just, but I was so wrong on so many levels. So now I allow the man to show me his characteristics.
You know what? That's so funny. And people, I really want y'all to, and this is the teaching me, you know what I'm saying? I find myself reiterating stuff because I say what you said in a male's perspective, but saying it so people can really get this. And I use myself, like when I met my wife, because my wife was from New York. This is what's so funny. Because she's from New York, I expected her to be able to deal with my childhood anger, aggression issues. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
now stop right there. Was it based off of how she looked, or was it based off of where she came from?
Well, how she looked. You know what I'm saying?
So you based her.
Well, let me say this.
So her avatar made you believe that she was going to have a
So let me explain.
A comfort in your raging ways. I'll put it that way.
It's like New York has a look. Meaning you could look at somebody and tell they from New York because that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna dress like they from New York. The girls gonna have a fucking little skinny chain with their name on it, the fucking bangles. They gonna have a motherfucking ring with their name on it. The men gonna have the hat with the Timbs and the hoodie and the fight jacket. That's just New York is New York. So my mind, New York acted a certain way.
Okay.
Every woman I had seen from New York and just looking at New York on TV, I'm assuming when I met her, oh, you dress like you from New York. You from New York. You're the type of woman I can cuss out and you won't be mad. Bitch, leave me alone and that won't bother you. You see what I'm saying? So when I got with her, I have always been tried to be, what am I trying to say? Not like the dysfunction I grew up around. So when I got with her, every woman before her, I have always said, I ain't cussing. I ain't doing no motherfucking arguing. If you don't do it my way, I'm just going to put skates on your ass and leave you where you're standing. So that was my formula. I don't argue with no woman. I don't get loud with no woman. I just leave your ass where you standing. So when I got with her, now I really want to marry her. So in my mind, I can't just say I'm gonna leave your ass where you're standing like you was.
No.
So we got to really communicate and have some real discussions. So in that conversations, when talking to her, because she's from New York, and she was like, "What up, son?" and kind of got a little dude swagger. When I'm talking to her, I'm like, so what the fuck is the deal? You know, goddamn shit. And she like, you're cursing. And as you can see, she show right here, my mother never cursed around me as a kid. I never been in a relationship where a man was harshly vocal to me. If anything, she was the cursor. Accuser. You made a mistake, bitch. You said accuser, not cursor. So I like to put now. What I'm saying is,
that's the teacher in you. You could resist. Can resist.
So the point I'm making is,
to
everybody, we got to stop assuming people are to look like, behave like this avatar, how they look. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, oh, you look like a church girl. And then she went down there and hit that meat like that. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? I thought you was a church girl. I don't know. You might be more of a whore than I thought you was. It's like, we holding her.
You're doing this, trying to get your bearings together.
So people looking at, I said something similar. I said, our type is just the outfit.
Yes, it is.
Like when we say, and that's kind of what you're saying.
Yes. And the problem is,
go ahead.
The problem is a lot of times when I'm sitting back, thinking back on my past, like, because then if I go back to my first boyfriend that I was with for 7 years before my husband, he and I were besties, and he was more a roughneck. So he was more, he had his style, and he was from Cleveland, so he had I mean,
He was like Steve Harvey.
right. And he was like more like a
Cleveland style.
roughneck, right? He's wild, but he was more of a roughneck. So, but he and I were best friends. We could talk about anything and everything. I mean, we were really extremely close. But when I think back on it, I realized that I had hangups about his avatar, that I would assume he was certain ways that wasn't accurate.
So he would
You
be
feel what I'm
doing
saying?
bitch shit sometime, and you be like, "Nigga, what is you
Yeah,
crying for?"
right. Like I was like, this don't match. That don't match what I'm thinking you're supposed to be doing. That
And
doesn't match.
he's saying, "I need to express myself and have a real
Yes,
conversation." And you like, "Nigga, what? Nigga, you
right,
from Cleveland? What the fuck
right.
you want to talk
And
about?"
it's so deep because I believe he gave me his purest love. So I was the recipient from his pure love.
All right, let me go back to a part. These two songs, right?
Okay.
And India.Arie, the song, he's the truth, said he's so real, and I love the way that it makes
Yeah.
me feel. And if I
Yeah.
am a reflection of him, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's one
Yeah.
line she say in this song. She
Okay.
said, and if we break up,
Mm-hmm.
I would be happy that this was a blessing and a lesson that I had to love this person. And I wouldn't even be mad at him if we broke up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number one, that's how I always felt love should be. How can
Absolutely.
you
Yes.
love me and hate me
The
afterwards?
same time. Yes.
Like how
And
if
you
you
remember,
love
do you
me,
remember what I told you? Remember, I always said, and we laughed about this. Remember, I have always said that
how my
I
battery go
don't
out
believe,
that quick? Ain't no way in the
I,
hell.
I, I think that if you had a love affair, I don't agree that you can, I'm sorry, if you've been married, I don't believe that divorce is really coming from a loving space. I feel like any
Let me
real
put this
marriage
other
that,
battery in, Miss Carla. Let me put this.
okay,
Just keep talking because I don't know how that shit went out. It normally take an hour and 30 minutes. Go
no,
ahead,
you're
keep
good.
talking.
No, I was just saying that I personally feel like if you were in love with someone and you got married, I totally believe personally that you can separate or end the marriage out of love, which means I believe that you can actually dissolve the marriage and just separate in agreement. To me, that's what I feel love is. If we have to divorce, we can't even come to terms with how we're going to part ways, then I question the authenticity of the love personally. I feel like, how is it that we claim to love each other, but we can't even separate out of love? We have all this hang up about assets, or all this hang up about possessions, but we can't look past this and be okay in separating in peace, separating and seeing the best for you, separating and being in agreement with, hey, we're just parting ways, but it doesn't mean we have to be nasty. Can we do that? So I've always believed that. I don't think that if you really truly loved each other, and your love affair, your marriage was birthed from the true authentic love that I'm talking about, that
Yeah.
you will divorce. I believe you will dissolve sometimes because you just
Mm-hmm.
do. But I don't believe that you would divorce. I think that
Yeah,
that's
and you
that's
know what?
just,
You know what's so funny when I said separating the feelings from the exes? You know, the
yeah.
funny thing about me is no one has ever broke up with me. I always break up with people.
Okay.
So in separating the feeling from those exes, those are things and attributes that I really liked about them and cared about them. And to this day, I still love anybody I ever loved because I feel
Right.
like I can't unlove you. I just can't
Right.
fuck with you no more. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I
Right.
can't make my, like, one thing people say, my former pastor, and they were like, well, you was under him and this, that, and the other, and he this, that.
Right.
And I was like, okay,
Right.
I can't unlearn what the motherfucker taught to me. I
Right.
can't unlearn the values and
unlearn or unhear anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't undo the days that I looked at him and said, man, you ain't but a few years older than me, but you're very wise, man. You're like a father figure to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't erase and redo that.
Right.
But I know once we had a specific conversation, I said, well, thank you for all you've done for me and taught me, but we just disagree. I can't fuck with you no more.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So,
and to me, that's how you can separate from love. It's not from a hatred space, because you really honor the person. You still have a care and appreciation, and it's not from a space of, I really never fucked with you to begin with, and I dealt with you, but really we just never saw eye to eye. That's a whole totally different separation.
And the funny thing about me is this: the women that I had to leave or separate from, or even friends or family members, I wish to God we could rekindle it. I wish we could be cool again. I miss them. You're not going to have access to my life unless I love you. That's just how I am. Because you have to think, I've had family members that I don't like to fucking be around. I've had family members do me a certain way. So I don't give a fuck about feelings, family, none of that shit. So if I let you in my circle, I love you.
Right.
I really love you. It's something about you I love, and I will want to keep you around me forever. But once you do or say certain things to me that I feel like compromises my principles, I can't.
Now, I did sit my daughter down.
That don't mean that I ain't burning for you when you're not here.
Now, I did sit my daughter down and explain to her that we don't get left. I explained that to her. I told my daughter, like, I just want you to understand that, because, you know, she's got her son's father and stuff. And, you know, it's not the most greatest disengagement, if you will.
Yeah.
But she really has a true affinity for the way he loves their son.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I told you, my grandson is special. So it's a whole nother element of joy, just that she doesn't give a damn about the fact that they just disengaged. But what she does love still in him, the fatherly. And I'm really a headhunter over that. I even embrace that part of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like to mirror that. And I'm big about it, because I want her to always be in honor of that and always hold that to a high regard. But I did tell her, you know, we don't get left. So understand that about being a part of me is the reason why you have that. Mom had that. My grandmother had that. We just don't get left.
Y'all leave niggas. Right. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny from judging, you know, how the caring household you came up in, just hearing your story, I can understand that, because it's kind of like you say your mom was the type of woman that, you know, shit, daddy was not pussy whipped, but daddy was in love, and mama kind of.
Well, my dad passed away September of 2022, but his birthday was the 21st of April. So my daughter hits me up and says, "Hey, Mom." I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Do you want to go out to eat for Papa's birthday?" I'm like, "Well, sure, let's go." So we went out to eat, and the first thing she says to me is, "You know what, Mom?" She said, "You know, it's really interesting how, you know, Mom," she was talking about me and my dad and Mom were so close with their love affair, but they were polar opposites as far as how they worshipped, their way of thinking. All of that was complete opposite, but they had such an endearing love. And I explained to her that Mom and I didn't see eye to eye, but Dad was the one that told me about Mom's development and who she was as a woman that had him endeared, I should say, with her.
Yeah, endeared. Well, Carla, we're gonna get out of here, and we ain't gonna look at this screen. I just switched it back. I think it could be something going on with the camera. I have it fixed by next week. But I'm excited because this was the first day I did 3 shows this week. So I'm excited. It was good. Yeah. So I appreciate it. I got a comedy show coming up this Friday, y'all.
I saw that.
It's that True Soul. And it's actually a comedy competition. What's going down is this. It's 3 comics, and whoever wins gets to be the host for the Mother's Day comedy show. So you get like 30 minutes. So Friday, I'm gonna get like 5 to 7 minutes. And I'm saying I'm gonna win this shit. I'm just going to get some experienced comics, but I'm gonna win this shit. When I come back Monday, what I'm saying? I'm gonna be good news out there. I won this shit. So we appreciate.
I do want to say before we get off, I do want to go back real quick to Shannon Sharp. Really fast. Go ahead. So listen, this is what I was going to say about Shannon. So I'm always going to come up with something outside the box about it. Yeah. So I pulled up his numbers from the Living Soul earlier today, just kind of looking at him. He is a soul communicator. He's a soul seer, and he's a soul, I think he's a soul conservator. So he's got a lot of different things going on with his soul. But let me explain something that's even more dynamic. It's not necessarily that he's so hung up about the interracial as much as he is about the energetics that he's messing with. Yeah. So these women embody a certain energetic field around them that he can't get enough of. And I must also put in there that he's also
young white bitch. I'm playing.
He's also driven by the kink. About race. The kink. It's the kink, though. He's not choosing with classy white women. Yeah. He's not choosing white women that are cultured within the Black community. He's choosing white women that are more okay with the kinky, if you know what I mean.
Before we get out of here, just jokingly, I said that today on my short story. I said, I think a lot of these celebrities, Black men, fuck with white women because a white woman will stick her finger up your ass and she won't tell until you break up. The Black woman, you ask her to stick her finger up your ass, she gonna say, you want me to stick what? Where, motherfucker? She gonna call her girlfriend. She gonna be in the group chat. Girl, this nigga play football. He want me to fuck him in the ass. So I that's my joke. And I'm joking, but I'm kind of serious. I think them white women, they'll let you do anything. And how they be playing with their dogs, licking them in the face and shit.
But I also think, no cap, I also think that he has this fetish, and I think he's got some really deep hurt with his Black side.
Yeah. Well, he got kids by Black women. All his kids by Black women. So I remember him saying like he don't know why people think he just love white women. All his kids by Black women. But it is what it is, Miss Carla. I appreciate you. Y'all stay tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and we're gonna get to talk to y'all about this life path shit a little bit more. I've been looking into that. A lot of times I don't fuck with nothing, but I'm interested in it. So we gonna talk.
We're gonna work it. You already know. Yeah.
You already know what time it is. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all next Monday.
Next Monday.